Blast off. Good housekeeping seal of approval. U.S. government certified. Junk of the month club sirloin steak. Grade A poison. Absolute dynamite.
This is the Godfather of cinema, and thanks for joining me for my analysis of director Paul Verhoeven's 1992 neo-noir erotic thriller Basic Instinct, written by Joe Eszterhas and starring Michael Douglas and Sharon Stone. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell to be notified of my future videos. As we all know, the killer at the end of this Hitchcockian film is revealed as none other than Catherine Tramiel, but there's a pretty good chance that you don't know why she chose not to kill Detective Nick Curran like all the others. If you give me a few minutes and stay with me to the end of this video, I will get you to see Basic Instinct in a whole new and different way. You'll want to see it again right after this video, I promise. So without further delay, let's dive into it, beginning with the suspension of disbelief. As a professional writer, Catherine Tramiel is expert at getting readers to intentionally suspend logic in order to believe the stories that she makes up. This manner of interweaving fact with fiction is known as suspension of disbelief, she explains to homicide detective Nick Curran, who is investigating the murder of retired rock and roll star Johnny Boz. By suspension of disbelief, Nick takes Catherine to mean that she only does this in her books because of the news clippings she has of him being cleared of accidentally shooting 2 tourists. She is researching him for a character in her new book.
I go with the flow.
She tells him. Then there is the woman who murdered her husband and children for no apparent reason. Hazel Dobkins is helping Catherine to understand homicidal impulse. Catherine also modeled the murder of the retired rock and roll star in her book, Love Hurts, after the murder of one of her college professors at Berkeley College. But to Catherine, suspension of disbelief is getting people like Nick to believe her lies. The trick to selling a good lie in a book as well as real life is being completely open and honest in order to get the reader or the victim to suspend his or her own logic.
You know I don't wear any underwear, don't you, Nick?
Catherine starts off by agreeing to talk to the police without a lawyer, because you only need a lawyer if you have something to hide, which is also why she leaves her bedroom door wide open as she is putting on her short dress in order to show Nick that she is not wearing anything else. And during her interrogation at the police station, she shows Nick and everyone there that she has nothing to hide. She answers all of their questions, letting them know that she is in a homosexual relationship with a woman by the name of Roxy, letting them know that she is okay with threesomes.
I go with the flow.
And that the nature of her relationship with Johnny Boz is she liked having sex with him and how he used his hands. They did cocaine together and she was not the least bit sad upon hearing about his death because she did not love him and only had sex with him as research for her book, Love Hurts. She answers all of their questions without blinking an eye because Catherine has nothing to hide. Even the polygraph test that they give her proves that she is not lying. And having proven to Nick that she is honest and open, Catherine tells him a lie about the girl she knew in college who was obsessed with her. She even reported the girl to the police for stalking her. Catherine mentions this casually because she knows that Nick is a detective and will check out her story, and he does, and all of the things she told him are true. Catherine filed a police report on Lisa Henderson, who also turns out to be a police psychologist as well as his on and off again lover, Beth Gardner. Nick is sure that there is something in the police report about Beth that she does not want anyone to see. After all, why would Lieutenant Nielsen be interested in her police report? And Beth may have also murdered Lieutenant Nielsen for connecting her police report to the murder of Johnny Boz, because Beth was jealous of Catherine and wanted to frame her for the murder of Johnny Boz. Catherine had been honest with him, but Beth had lied to him. So Nick pays her a surprise visit to ask her why she never told him that she knew Catherine when they attended college.
She told you, didn't she?
Beth explains to him that she didn't tell him that she knew Catherine because she had had sex with her, but only one time, and didn't want that part of her life to come out in a hearing.
I was embarrassed. It was the only time I've been with a woman.
Nick takes what Beth tells him back to Catherine. Additionally, Beth had also told him that Catherine was obsessed with her in college and not the other way around. Catherine denies Beth's accusation with a straight face, looks him straight in the eye, and asks him if he thinks that she killed Johnny Boz.
I mean, did she tell you in bed, Nick? That's what I do.
Nick is now even more confused, so he stops by a clinic in Salinas, California to see Beth's ex-husband. But he can't because someone shot and killed the man 6 years ago as he was walking home from work. No gun was ever found, nor was there a suspect or a motive like Johnny Boz's murder. And the same cop who had the report that Catherine made against Beth in college had also spoken with police in Salinas. Lieutenant Nielsen had briefly investigated Dr. Gardner's death. The reason, Nick is told, is that there had been rumors about Beth having an affair with another woman. No link was ever found between Beth's alleged affair and her husband's death. Nevertheless, this revelation causes Nick to question Beth's side of the story, being that she never told him that someone had murdered her ex-husband, and why Nielsen would be interested in the murder of her ex-husband, and why Beth would be having an affair with another woman around the same time that her husband was murdered. Nick shares these findings and his growing distrust in Beth with his partner, but Gus, unlike Nick, is not convinced that Catherine Trammell is innocent.
It must really be something making stuff up all the time.
She should be their number one suspect because she wrote a book with characters and a murder exactly like the murder of Johnny Boz, using the same type of murder weapon, an ice pick, that someone used to murder her professor in college. Throughout Catherine's life, people have ways of getting themselves killed, like her parents who were killed in a boating accident. Then there are her friends, like Hazel Dopkins, who did 9 years in San Quentin for killing her husband and her own children, and Roxy, who was also 14 when she murdered her brother with her father's razor.
But it didn't hurt.
No,
Because you didn't love him.
that's right.
The two men murdered by ice picks that Catherine used in her book Love Hurts are Noah Goldstein and rock and roll star Johnny Boz, and neither man meant anything to her. She admits this to Nick. She felt nothing when he told her about Johnny's death because she did not love him.
Even though you were fucking him.
Unlike her fiancé, Roberto Vasquez, who died in a boxing match, his death did hurt her because she loved him as she loved her parents, who both died in a boating accident. Catherine never confuses the pleasure of sex with love, and this is the only thing that she liked Johnny Boz for, because he was no more real to her than any of the made-up characters in her book that she could kill off without giving it a second thought.
Next time I use a rubber.
However, unlike Catherine, Nick does not know how to draw a fine line between the pleasure of sex and love. Therefore, after making love to her, Nick runs into Roxy in the bathroom. She had watched them having sex and warns Nick to stay away from Catherine, but Nick takes Roxy's threat a different way, as jealousy, because she saw something special between himself and Catherine, but Catherine downplays his assumption by informing him of the fact that there is nothing special between them at all, because Roxy watched her make love many times with other men and women before. And when Nick tells Catherine that she is the lover of the century, expecting her to feel the same way about him, she doesn't.
Well, what do you think?
To her, it was only a good start, and her coldness hurts his feelings.
What is this, some kind of joke?
Later, Nick runs into Roxy again, but this time she tries to run him over in Catherine's Ferrari, but ends up running the car off the road and breaking her neck. And Nick goes by to see Catherine, whose outlook on their relationship is now different than it was before, when she had downplayed Nick's assumption that they had formed a special bond. Catherine now agrees with him when he said that Roxy was jealous of them and tried to kill him because she saw something that she hadn't seen before when she saw them making love. Now, Nick truly believes that he and Catherine have something more than sex between them, and he will not let himself believe that Catherine would ask Roxy to kill him. Catherine then does something she told Nick she never did with anyone, by sharing one of her secrets with him, that because of him, she is now losing interest in writing her new book, and he actually believes her. However, Beth warns Nick to be careful because Catherine has a degree in psychology.
She's really sick, you know.
And is manipulating him, and Nick reminds Beth that she is a psychologist too and could also be trying to manipulate him. For in his heart, Catherine is no longer the murder suspect. Beth is. Even so, his friend and partner Gus reminds him of that old saying that people are the company that they keep. And all of Catherine's friends and lovers, including Nick himself, happen to be murderers.
You fucked her!
However, Nick blows off Gus's warning too, because he is in love with Catherine and confused, as he was when he accidentally shot those tourists. Unlike Catherine, who doesn't confuse sex with love or how she felt about rock and roll star Johnny Boz. She did not love him, and hearing about his death did not hurt her.
Even though you were fucking him.
But she did love her fiance, Bobby Vasquez, whose death in a boxing match had hurt her. And being someone who can separate fact from fiction and sexual pleasure from love, Catherine indirectly confesses to the murder of Johnny Boz. Being that she cannot kill someone she loves, she can only kill someone she does not love, someone she is detached from, like Nick. The cocaine and alcohol in his system detached him from those tourists and made shooting and killing them easy and feel good to him, as the separation of sex from love made killing Johnny Boz easy and feel good to Catherine, which is why the real suspension of disbelief in Basic Instinct takes place at the end of the film, when the line separating pleasure from love disappears and Catherine regains control over her impulse to kill. She cannot kill Nick as she killed the others, because doing so as before is no longer easy, like it was before when she could separate the thrill of killing from her capacity to love. To kill Nick now would be inflicting pain upon herself, because she loves him, as the title of her book suggests. Love hurts, and in the end she finds the very thing that Nick loses when he surrendered to his lower urges by killing those tourists and going back to cocaine, smoking cigarettes, and alcohol. Self-control. Again, I'd like to thank you for watching my analysis of Director Paul Verhoeven's 1992 neo-noir erotic thriller Basic Instinct. And if you like this video, I'd appreciate it if you would give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the Godfather of Cinema, and hit the bell to be notified of my future uploads. I will see you soon.